All right, be honest. Does opening TradingView make you feel like you just sat down in the cockpit of a 747 with zero instructions? Look, you're not alone. Most people, they waste hours clicking random buttons, getting lost in a jungle of menus, and ending up with a chart that looks like, I don't know, a toddler's art project. So what if I told you that in under 20 minutes, you could have a perfectly clean workspace and master the only tools that you actually need to start analyzing charts like a pro? In this video, I'm going to give you the blueprint of going from confused to fully confident in TradingView. We're going to slash through all the noise. We're going to build a powerful foundation for your entire trading journey. So by the end, you're going to have a clean, functional, professional looking chart, and you can use it for any market that you want. Stocks, crypto, Forex, you name it. Let's get started.
Okay, first things first, you're going to need an account. So let's head down to the description of this video and click on the link that'll take you to TradingView.com so you can sign up. Now, using my link doesn't cost you any extra money if you do decide to purchase a plan later, and it's a great way to support my work. But for the purposes of this video, we're just going to sign up for the free account. The free account's a great starting point, and it has everything that we need for this tutorial. Just know that it does have some limitations, like only allowing a couple of indicators per chart, but that's perfect for the clean setup that we're going to build today anyway. So let's go ahead, we'll head over to the website. And then in the top right here, if you prefer this website to be in a different language, they have several options for you to choose from. We're going to select English. And then if you look here to the right of that, there's a little man. Go ahead and click him. Click sign in. And if we look down on the bottom, you'll see do not have an account, and we'll click sign up. And we just want to confirm in the center of the screen that it says sign up. If you drop this down, you'll see all the different options that you can have to sign up, whether it's through Google, Facebook, Twitter, Yahoo, Apple, LinkedIn, or the traditional route, which is just email. I'm going to select email. Then I'll go ahead and put my email address in here. I already have a password that I've created for this account, and I'll put that here. And then I'll click the box here that says I'm not a robot, and then I'll go ahead and click create account. So they'll send you a confirmation email, and then the next thing you do is go into your email, open the email, and then go ahead and click activate account, and boom, now you go into the steps where you finish to create this account. So we'll go ahead and just leave this default name right now, actual success. I don't want to receive any marketing emails. I have read the terms and conditions. We'll go ahead and click next. The next thing that you're going to want to do is go ahead and bookmark this video. That way you can come back to it as many times as you need to. On Windows, that's commonly Control-D, and on Mac, it's usually Command-D. Okay, when you first log in, you're going to see a home screen that has announcements. And sometimes there's sales that are running. They're running a Black Friday sale right now, but that might not be active when you see this video. And the first thing that we're going to do is we go ahead and we click products, which by default will go ahead and load up a super chart. So this is a very generic chart layout, and it's perfect for what we want to get started here. So we'll start by going up here into the upper left-hand corner, and we'll click here for a search. Now we have the symbol search, and we're going to start with something simple. We'll say NVIDIA. So let's search for NVDA. And you can see that there's several categories in these small bubble tabs that they offer. So if you search and you have all selected like this, you can see that there's many types. There's NVIDIA, there's bonds in here, there's stocks that are listed on other exchanges throughout the world. There's a bunch of different things going on here. So let's go ahead and click stocks, and then we can filter the list down at least to the stocks, because that's what we're looking for, right? We're looking for NVIDIA, which is a stock on the NASDAQ, because I'm in the United States. So I'm going to go ahead and click this one. We'll click the top one. Then you can also search for other things. Say, for example, this is how you would find NVIDIA, but let's say that you wanted to look for something like Bitcoin. So I type Bitcoin in here, and there's all these different options, right? So Bitcoin is a crypto. Let me go ahead and click crypto. And then we can see some of the spot prices for Bitcoin right now. We've got Bitstamp, we've got Coinbase. Here's a crypto index. Let's go ahead and just see what Bitcoin against the US dollar is here on Coinbase in the United States. It's been having a tough time here a little bit. Maybe you want to look for something else, like let's say the NASDAQ 100 composite. Now, the NASDAQ 100 is a couple different things. There's futures But there's also the indice. Let's click on indices here. And we see the NDX, NASDAQ 100 index. And click on that. So you can see there's several different ways to bring up different types of instruments that you might want to look at. Let's go ahead and go back here, and let's go back to NVDA. We'll go to NVDA. We'll click stocks. We'll see that it's a stock here on the NASDAQ. Let's go ahead and load that chart up. So now that we're in this chart, this is a default chart layout. And in the upper right-hand corner here, you can see that it's currently listed as unnamed. And then there's a small option underneath it to click save. We're not going to click that yet, but we're going to go ahead and start building this basic chart layout together. So if you look next to this box, you'll see this square right here that looks like it's something like a checkbox. It's actually not a checkbox. This is the layout setup button. If you click this button, you're going to see several different layouts that you can use where you can look at multiple symbols or multiple symbols on one chart. You can look at different time frames on one chart, on one tab, right? So this would be left and right. This one would be top and bottom. Here's ones with 3s. Here's ones with 4s. Now with the free plan, we can only select one. But in the future, this is where you would come if you wanted to put more, if you upgraded the plan and you wanted to see more symbols at one time. So let's go ahead and we'll stick with this one. And then what we're going to do is start working on the essentials that we need to learn. So these are the tools that you're going to be using like 95% of the time. So let's talk about getting around the chart. This seems basic, but doing it fast is like a superpower. So you can use your mouse's scroll wheel to zoom in and out. So if I go up, I move the chart to the right. If I go right or down, I can move this chart and squeeze it in to the left. And you can see on these axes, either the y-axis or the x-axis, you can also go over here and I can pull this down by holding my mouse button, or I can hold my mouse button and push it up. I can do the same thing here on the x-axis, which is the time axis. I can hold my mouse button down and go to the left and stretch. And I can hold my mouse button down and go to the right and stretch. And one of the beautiful things about all of this is that I can just go to either one of these axes if I want to reset them and just double click. Double click here, this one resets. Double click here, this one resets. And it's a real lifesaver. It can keep you so you can get back to a place where if you've gotten way off the chart, you can go ahead and just double click, reset the chart axis, and be back to where you were. So let's look up here at the top left. Now, you're already familiar a little bit with the search function because we used it to find some different symbols, indexes, different things that you can look at. And then right next to it, right to the right, there's a plus button. Now, this allows you to compare or add a symbol. Now, if you click this, let's say we have one right here, the NDQ. This is the US 100 index for the NASDAQ. Let's click that. So once I added this index, you'll notice, if I close this now, you'll notice here on the right-hand side, these became percentages because it's comparing NDQ to NVDA. And what's the actual percentage? Well, it's what you see on the screen. So if I use my mouse button or my scroll wheel and scroll down a little and put more onto the screen, you'll see that the percentages change because it's calculating from the first bar that's on the screen. So let's go ahead and double click and reset. Double click and reset. I'm going to go over here to the list where it is. Now you can see the symbol is actually in this list of indicators. And I'm going to use the remove button here, the trash can. We'll take it off. Reset our axes just to make sure. Perfect. Now right next to that, you're going to see the time frame selector. And it changes based on whichever one you pick here. You can have a day, a week, a month. If you're a smaller time frame trader, you might pick in the minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. And there's many more down here. We can go, there's hours. These all open up and you can see the different, there's seconds, if you were looking at seconds. And one of the beautiful things about TradingView is that, let's say, for example, I use the daily chart a lot. I can click my star button here, add it to the favorites. And maybe I also like to use the 4-hour chart a lot. I can click a star here and add it to my favorites. And that way, when I collapse my time frame, I have these buttons now that are up here that will allow me to shortcut to the ones that I like the most. There's also down here in the bottom left, there's some presets that TradingView does on their own. You can hover over them to see what the different time frames, like for example, 6 months and 2-hour intervals. There's one here, 1 month and 30-minute intervals. But let's go ahead and take these. I'm going to take these off. We'll reset this for now. And I'm just going to pick daily so that we can stay here on the daily. The common charts are daily, weekly, 4-hour, and then the smaller time frames for day trading. Let's go ahead and look one more button over to the right at the top toolbar, and that's going to be the chart type. So there's a bunch of different options to choose from in here. We have candles, hollow candles, volume candles, there's line charts. You can, for example, you might want to have a line chart, or you might want to use something like Renko. Renko is a very popular chart type. Or maybe there's all types of different things. Maybe you're a point and figure trader. All these different ideas that we have. We'll go ahead and set this back to candle. And just like the time frame menu, you can go ahead and star these. You can add candles. Let's say we can add lines. And maybe we like an area chart. And that way we have these up here on our toolbar as a shortcut if we want to flip between them quickly. We'll go ahead and take them off for right now. And we'll just leave it set to candles. So now let's shift our focus over here to the left-hand side, which is our left-hand toolbar. Now, this looks a little bit intimidating over here, but there's only a few tools that you really need to get started. Okay, the first one is going to be the trend line. So that's here under the second one. We'll click this little caret and bring it over, and we'll go ahead and grab the trend line. And with the trend line, you can start at one point, and then draw up to the, to your next point, and you can create a trend line easily so you can visually see what the market's doing. Now, this is the same as all the other menus. If you want to, go ahead and put your trend line and click your star, and now it's going to add it over here to a little toolbar that you'll have right here on the screen. So let's do a trend line. Another one that I also like to use a lot is the horizontal line. We'll go ahead and click here for the horizontal line. We'll add it to our toolbar. And now that we have a horizontal line, we can add extra things like, for example, I kind of like this level right here. Here's another level on NVIDIA as well. So we can go ahead and grab our horizontal line. And here's another level on NVIDIA as well. Real easy. We just click. Maybe I want to do another trend line here. You get the idea. You can draw on your charts and mark them up fairly easily. There is one more that I do like, and that one is down here in the geometric shapes, which is next to the brush. You click the caret over for the geometric shapes. I always go ahead and add him for my rectangle, and this gives me buy support and resistance zones that I can draw on the chart. So for example, I might want to look at this zone down here and say, okay, this is a resistance area. I can right click this. I can go ahead and extend this by grabbing like this, or I can go ahead and click the settings and just have it extend left, extend right. Okay. That way, as the chart continues to draw, it will extend these lines for me, and I can call this a resistance, which has now become a support maybe that I might buy from. Let me go ahead and use the trash can to remove all 5 drawings. I'm going to click that and get rid of them. And so now that you know about the basics of the tools that you need to use over here, let's just go ahead and add some analytical horsepower to our charts with some indicators. Now, TradingView has thousands and thousands of indicators. And the indicator button is right here next to the candles, next to our chart type. We'll click indicators. And the same thing, we have bubbles. We have indicators, strategies, profiles, and patterns. For right now, we're just going to do indicators. And we'll go ahead and we'll add something like a moving average. So I'll go ahead and type moving average in here. Let's just do a simple moving average simple, right? Click that. Now I've got a moving average on here, along with the default, which already has the volume here. So you see the SMA 9 close, and it drew this indicator on our chart. We can click the indicator. We can see if I hover over SMA 9 close, this is the name of the indicator. I can go over here to the settings button, click settings, and then I have some control over what's going on here. Maybe I want to make this a 50-day moving average. And that would change this to a 50-day moving average. So now we can see this slightly differently. Now, in the free version, there's only 2 indicators. So you have to choose them wisely and figure out what would be the most important to you. I do like volume, and I do like the SMA. So this gives me a general overview of what's going on. Now, there is one more section here that we need to take a look at. Over here in the top right-hand corner, there's the watch list button. If you click this button, this is the default watch list that comes with TradingView. And this has just a combination of things that people most likely will be looking at, the general market indices. We've got Apple, we've got Tesla, we've got Netflix. And let's say that we wanted to add another stock like NVIDIA. So let's go ahead and search NVDA. We've got the stocks, the stock from the NASDAQ. We click there. And once it's in this list, we can drag it. We can move it up. Maybe you want to move it up and put it underneath, like right here into this group with the other stocks. This way you have this basic chart layout that you can flip through all these different things now in your watch list and put together like a streamlined workflow for yourself. And then lastly, what you want to do to make sure that you don't lose anything is come up here. Remember that save button that I talked about earlier? We'll go ahead and click this save button. And we can change the name of it. We can go down here and rename it if we want to by clicking the little caret here. We can rename this to something a little bit better to understand, like clean. So now let's go ahead and put some of these things together. So let's take a look here at our NVIDIA chart. We have our price, which is now sitting below the 50-day moving average, right? And we can tell that the trend has been up over the past year. And now we're starting to flatten out and go a little bit sideways. This is important to note. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll grab some rectangles. I do like this zone down here. And I'm going to go ahead and draw a rectangle right here, which will give me some support. I have another one down here where we made previous swing highs, right? Grab my rectangle. Like this. Then maybe I'll grab one more rectangle, put it here. Can draw a trend line off the top if I wanted to, something along these lines where I anticipate that we're going to stay within this zone for a little period of time. And this will give me some idea of what I'm looking at to build a trade plan around in this particular instance. And there you have it. In less time than it takes to get through your morning coffee, you've built a professional grade charting setup and mastered the core tools of TradingView. You can have a repeatable process to analyze any chart in any market. You've learned how to create a clean workspace, navigate like a pro, mark key levels, use essential indicators, and build an organized watch list. That's a skill that will pay you dividends for your entire trading journey. You went from someone clicking random buttons to someone with a process and a professional setup. The only thing left to do now is practice. So open some charts, draw your lines, watch the indicators, and build that confidence. And if you've gotten any value out of this video, do me a solid please and hit that like button. It makes a huge difference. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the next tutorials where we get into more advanced strategies. And at the time of this video, TradingView is currently in the middle of the Black Friday and Cyber Monday promotion. If you go to the link in the description, you can get big savings. If you were watching this when the sale is over, you can still get whatever the price is currently, plus by using my link, you'll get an additional $15 towards your next purchase. Listen, as a huge bonus, jump into our free Discord and I'll gladly share with you my breadth layout, my standard daily weekly layouts. They're the same layouts that I've used to trade a leverage ETF system that I've been working on in my paper trading accounts. I'm currently up in that over 30% this year, and I plan to move that into a live trade soon. So I do call those trades out in my free Discord, and I would love to see you there. So I've got a question for you. What's one market you're excited to analyze with your new setup? Drop it in the comments below, and I'd love to see what y'all are looking at. Click on the next video or the playlist to see more TradingView tutorials, and I'll see you on the next one.